Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. And as you can see, I'm coming to you today from another cracker magical location. Let me just put my mic, attach my mic again, just bear with me. I'm coming to you from another magical location, and I'm at Bondi Beach. And it's turning out to be a glorious day. We've had a number of overcast days, wet days to bring in summer this year. But this is probably one of the better Sundays that we've had. So I've just got out of the pool. I was at Bondi Icebergs. I did my 2 kilometre Sunday swim, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The water temperature is about 22 degrees, which is absolutely delightful. And when I got out of the pool, I went over to the edge over there, and I was just admiring the people surfing. And in between the surfers was this seal, just frolicking in the surf, and it was just absolute magic. Anyway, I got it on video and I popped it onto Instagram, but I've never seen a seal amongst surfers. I've seen dolphins and fish, but never a seal. So a wonderful way to kick off Sunday. Anyway, I want to do a book summary this morning, and the book summary I want to talk about is probably an appropriate one, an apt one for this time of year. We're early into January. A lot of people are still have their New Year's resolutions alive and well, and hopefully they'll keep on bubbling along. But let's go into a book here by Shonda Rhimes, a very, very powerful book, and it's entitled A Year of Yes. A Year of Yes. And it's a huge call to action to each and every one of us to basically say yes to everything in order to just live our lives and do as much as we can. Just say yes to everything and face every fear that we have. So her project that she undertook a number of years ago, she was a high-level executive who was very, very conservative, and she saw that her life was getting away from her because she'd always be coming up with excuses as to why she shouldn't be doing this, that and the other. And somebody stung her one day and told her that you always say no. You're a killjoy and you always say no. I think it was her sister at a Christmas lunch or something said something that really, really knocked her about. So she decided right there and then, for the next year, she will just continue to say yes to everything. So she kicks off her book by basically saying that her project was that for 12 months she would never say no to any opportunities, and she would just say yes and go along with the flow. Because she figured out that sometimes the only way to get you going is to get others to push you. And her sister, God bless her, was the one who confronted her and just said something which is quite benign under most circumstances, but for the author, Shonda, her name is, Shonda Rhimes, it really knocked her about and catalysed her and got her moving and got her opening her eyes to all the opportunities that she had in her life that were passing her by, and her life was passing her by as well. So what she says is that you say yes so you don't miss out on life. We only have one life, and I know it's important to have delayed gratification, but there are things you can do whilst waiting for delayed gratification, and there's no rules. There's nobody out there who's suggesting that you can't do more than one thing at a time, as long as you are ready for a great ride. And she says that, and I agree with this, wholeheartedly. The best thing for you to have is friends who are going to push you to say yes and to take action. Too often we're surrounded by people, family, friends, associates, workmates, parents, grandparents, you name it. People who just want us to be as we are. They don't want us to grow, they don't want us to develop, they don't want us to change, because if we change, then all of a sudden we upset their world and their apple cart. So it's important to understand that it's not in everybody's best interest for you to say yes and for you to change, but most importantly understand that it's in your best interest to be there saying yes to every opportunity and just having a crack at life. So what you'll learn by saying yes all the time is that you're able to achieve and do a lot more things in your life that you ever thought that you were capable of achieving. So for the people who are out there who are timid and are worried about saying yes and then all of a sudden being overwhelmed, the key to life is to take big bites and to chew as fast as you can to enjoy what's on offer, because it's a gift, and that gift isn't there forever. It comes and goes. So unless you're willing to take that magnificent ride, that roller coaster ride called life, and to experience the full spectrum of what is available to you, then you may miss out. For example, this morning I did my swim, and as I left the pool, I was suggesting before, there was a seal frolicking in the surf. Had I not decided to come to Bondi here to go for a swim, I would have missed out on that opportunity. Anyway, let's kick on. So lesson 2 from this wonderful book is that no one is an island. And if you say yes to everything, then you need to make sure that you don't ask too many questions and you don't hesitate. Just go with the flow. And just learn to do a bunch of things at the one time. Just say yes, as the Nike ad has taught us over the years, and go for it. The author suggests here that when you say yes, don't ask questions, don't deliberate, don't complain. Just say yes and see what happens. You'll be surprised at what happens, because one door leads you to another door. So along the path there, other opportunities, other people, other things will pop up, and you'll look back and say, well, how did I get here? How did I meet all these people? How did I have so much fun? But it all began with that first yes. It became with that yes attitude, that ability to say, stuff it. I'm not going to worry about all the consequences. I'm just going to go for it and enjoy my life. Enjoy it. And along the way, if it's not working for you, if it's not serving you, you can move on and say yes to something else. So just because you're saying yes to everything doesn't mean that you need to be a victim of all those yeses. It just means that you need to open up and take the ride. And she also says on that second point that introverts, we're all introverted to a certain degree, but she makes a very valid point that introverts are social people as well, who just hate to admit it. So inside of us, we all have a sense of adventure, but some people hold back because of their fears, because of their irrational fears that they've generated themselves, and also bullshit fears that other people have pushed upon them and they've inherited from their family, friends, and the environment around them. So have a go. Have a go is what the author's talking about. Just have an experiment and just go for a year of just saying yes to everything and see where it leads you. And then in a year's time, look back and decide whether or not you want to continue it or change it. It's up to you. It's easy. You're not forced to do it, but you're invited. You're invited to do it. The third point from this wonderful book is to learn how to accept compliments as you get them, instead of trying to be humble. There are so many people who make it awkward for themselves and for other people around them because they never want to accept compliments. I've got to admit, I was one of those people for many years. I always tried to deflect compliments and deflect attention, and I was very conservative for many years, especially as a young parent. But there comes a time where you just realise that when somebody gives you a compliment, it's a gift, and you've got to thank them for it, because it's not easy for somebody to come out of their shell and to say something nice about you, or to call out something which they see which is positive about you. And what they're expecting in return is for you to receive it, to accept it. And you can say thank you, at least acknowledge the fact that you've accepted it, and not to let it go to your head, of course. So the lesson from this third point is love yourself. Learn to love yourself and to welcome and accept compliments from all those people around you. You don't need to say much. All you need to do is say thank you. And you don't have to go back and come up with another compliment to give back to the person who gave you the compliment, unless of course it's genuine. Only give genuine, thoughtful compliments as and when they arise, and you'll know when the timing is right. So the lesson here is, don't play the compliments down. Just say thank you with a big, bright smile. Accept it, because you're worth it. At the end of the day, you're worthy. And it's okay, as the author says here, to take a bath in the sun occasionally. We're not talking about being an attention whore or being somebody who always wants to be in the limelight. We're just talking about momentarily having a bathe in the sun, and just to know that there are people who admire us, there are people who like us, there are people who look up to us, and to acknowledge those people and not to make them feel invisible, not to make them feel invalidated, and not to make them feel awkward is the key from this point. And the last point in this wonderful book is an absolute cracker. Because when we learn to say yes, to ourselves, what we're actually doing is we're learning to say no to others. So don't feel bad about saying no. Put yourself first, because at the end of the day, unless you are fulfilled, unless you are happy, unless you are feeling absolutely awesome and content with your life, then you're not going to be a nice person. You're not going to be a person who is going to be great to be around. So you need to get the balance. We all need to get the balance, and that balance is love ourselves to a point, and then when we're overfilling with our self-love, with our love, with our humble self-love, to be able to share it generously with other people, to make them feel loved, to make them feel validated, to make them feel awesome and visible and not invisible, as we mentioned before. Anyway, let's finish off with a positive affirmation from this wonderful location. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, learn to say yes. Learn to say yes to everything. Learn to say yes to yourself and follow through with that yes, which may mean that you need to say no to others. But as the author alludes to in this wonderful book, you need to invest in yourself to be fulfilled, to be happy, to be content with what you're achieving in your life, in order to then become a wonderful, generous giver of love a source of love and a source of happiness for all of those around you. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on Jim's 5 a.m. Club. I've thoroughly enjoyed coming to you today from this wonderful, absolutely cracking location. It's got to be one of the best locations in the world, Bondi Beach. Regardless of what people say, there is an aesthetic appeal that this beach has, which is hard to find anywhere else, especially anywhere else here in Sydney. Anyway, thank you once again. I enjoyed being with you. I enjoy being with you. And I look forward to you being part of my parea and part of my volta on a daily basis on Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, something to help lift us, something to help get us through the day, and something that we can all gain from so that we can live, learn, and pass it on. Lots of love and yassas. Bye.